It, I can't tell you how excited I am to have Kelly with me again. In just a few weeks, we've gotten to know each other so well on a higher level of helping people, of having greater opportunities to share valuable information with people, and more importantly, and this last week has been unbelievable. It's just so phenomenal. The growth, the participation, the interaction, the core group that we're building. But let me first of all, today is if you can't do it, could we is the topic. Let me introduce our special guest star, Kelly, and Kelly can share a little bit about herself and really what she's starting to see about this program and how it's evolving in her mind and the future opportunity possibly. Kelly?
Thank you for having me again, Don. This is so exciting. I guess I can call myself a veteran now because this is my second time going live. And it's not as scary as I actually originally thought it would be. Good morning to everyone from sunny Arizona. I'm a very long-term marketing executive who in my career has, 2020 happened to us all and I was laid off, and it's really changed my view on so many things and how I wanted to live this next part of my career and my life. I wanted to be selective about who I had in my life, surrounding myself with people that push me to grow. Because I continue to say, if growth were easy, everybody would be doing it. And then even with this, Don, this is a growth opportunity. I think I always had a little bit of fear of going live. Just sounds a little bit terrifying. But I love the authenticity and just the want to help people. And that really is my core value of what I believe is I want to help as many people as I can. Like, why wouldn't I? And what a beautiful world if we just all spent some time helping one another. And especially now, we all need it, I think, a little bit more than we have in the past, or maybe are just becoming much more aware of that, which is what I love about your show, is the authenticity. Some of the connections I've made just from being here are amazing. Some of the people and what they're doing. And everybody has the approach of, what can I do to help you? Not what can you do for me? And I think that is such a beautiful approach, and completely staying away from the sales aspect of things, and people aren't coming on and trying to immediately pitch something. I just think it's refreshing. And I think it's something that we all need. So good morning, Christine.
Oh yeah, hi Christine. Thank you so much for persevering through yesterday. I'm so sorry to everybody. Me and Gretchen we still did it. It was an hour, and it was on Facebook and YouTube, but there was a connection issue with LinkedIn, and it didn't stream to them. Now it's working, but I was so disappointed, not for myself, because I know we're building momentum. I know people are showing up every day. I know people plan this. And when it doesn't work, even if it's not my direct responsibility, I still feel for it and you. So let me go to, okay, Christy, we've got, okay, Olabo, yes, you've been a regular.
Yeah,
this was a pretty long, extensive one. Here's Leslie. Hello, folks. Hi, Leslie. You're a great connection to what Kelly just said. These people, when you see them on the screen, just don't recognize them. Okay, reach out to them. Mm-hmm. And if they say something that inspires you, share that with them, because no one knows until someone tells them what they're thinking, and how they're feeling about what they do, which really promotes more and more people to do more and more. And the whole thing is, I want to see this program, like Kelly does, to really give people an opportunity they may never have had, or always wanted but never had the platform. And if not the platform, going back to the topic of the day, if you can't do it, could we? And there's no shame in knowing your limitations or knowing what you need to be more fulfilled. And honestly, and me and Kelly talked about this prior to going on live, there's so many people, if you reach out to them, they're waiting for you. Mm-hmm. But you have to do it in a value, worthwhile manner. right? Which is to say something about them and why you chose them first.
Yeah.
You know, here's why I'm asking you or reaching out to you. I saw your post. I saw you on a show. Love what you had to say. You know, if you have 20 minutes, I'd love to talk to you. You know, people
And
need
even
to.
those people who have questions, I think, being brave enough to say, like, I've got a question and I'm going to put it out there. What a great opportunity to do it here. This is so much better, my opinion, than sending the private message even on LinkedIn to someone that you don't know. Like, throw it out there here, because I guarantee you, if you're struggling with something, particularly related to business, getting a job, what have you, other people are having it too. I mean, and that's the beauty, I think, of what is organically coming from, this group, Dawn, is that people are being vulnerable and reaching out and having an opportunity that they may not have had. And starting their day off, honestly, because of course, when I watch, I always feel motivated afterwards. I just feel good. And it's like, how lovely to have something to start our day that makes us feel good. And we've got people that we can reach out to and feel comfortable with, in the sense of, like, you know what, the worst thing anybody can ever say is no. And it's not that bad.
No, not at all. And here's the other thing, and there's so many things that people can learn through this, is everybody today who's with you today are the people you need to be working with.
Yeah.
Right? The ones who just showed up, the ones who are most interested, the ones who are most aligned. The other thing is, a lot of the connections you made were when you were different on LinkedIn, when you had a different message, a different way of delivering it, a different way of interacting. That was practice. You know, that was rehearsal. Now this is the real thing and the real stage. And to Kelly's point, which is my point too, everybody I'm talking to on the phone, I've met in the last 2-3 weeks. Everybody I'm having on has been a guest. Not a guest, but a part of the audience. What I want people to do is go from the audience, start sharing who you are. I mean, these are getting record numbers. 400 or 500 thought leaders are seeing every one of these. Denton right now on the screen is going to get all these connection requests and profile views. I forget who it was, might have been Christine, who said she got 1,000% increase in 1 week in her profile views by showing up. So don't be LinkedIn's best kept secret. Leslie's here. I think we might have noted a promotion to give money in this chat stream. It feels uncomfortable to me, my first time. Yeah, this is not anywhere to be selling or asking. And that's why I'm not showing anything on the screen that does that, because, there's a time, there's a place, and there's an environment, right? And like me and Kelly were talking, you got to get to know people before you start asking things.
Yeah.
And you got to respect everybody's time and everybody's platform, right? Before a person just does that. And that's why it's so important to learn best practices, to be proficient. Why not learn whatever it is that makes some people successful, that's just as actually, and sometimes less time and less trouble in doing it. Yes, Kelly, I feel exhausted before hopping on, and I swear this is better than coffee.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Christine, you're going to be in the newsletter this week based on the comment, because what I'm doing for everybody is getting as much of you and your name out there to as many people under the best circumstances, which is third-party validation and association. So I have a section that says best comments of the week. That's going to encourage more people to comment, to be seen, and to be heard. And I changed my whole profile all around the environment that you, the audience, are creating. The message that you're sending. I'm just mirroring that. I'm not trying to guide it. I'm not trying to direct it. I'm trying to get behind it and let it flow. And we talked about rivers, and don't fight them. Allow them to carry you. Okay. An acknowledgement to Leslie. Oh, Maria's here. No shame in helping for help. I used to dread that, but it's a mindset shift that other people think it's a weakness or
Yes.
they think they look unprofessional. I had the experience last week. I reached out to an HR recruiter as I had some basic questions. You cut off a little bit, but you know, I was a big psychology student when I was in school, and I just devoured all of it. I took everything and I took advanced classes. And what I found out, the healthiest people are the ones who seek help.
Yes.
You know,
So true.
because they know they can use it and they look at it as an asset and a compliment versus an acknowledgement that I'm not 100%. Right? You know, people are trying to be, and I think that's what Kelly so well outlined, inauthentic.
Mhm.
They're trying to show what they're not yet and they want to be. And instead of doing the hard work, which it is to become.
Right. And
Right?
I think, you know, there is something so, because we've all felt this way. Like if I have to ask the question, I either look stupid or I look weak. And I'm so grateful. I've had some awesome mentors in my career. And, you know, I loved managing a team more than anything because it's that human connection and how to help people. And
Hmm.
my approach with my team was always the fact of, you know, there is no dumb question. The only, and I don't even like the word dumb. What's wrong is to not ever ask it. If you don't want to ask it in front of a group of people because you feel uncomfortable, send me a message private or come see me privately and we'll walk through it because it's okay. I mean, we're all human and we've all been there. And anyone who says they haven't is not telling the truth.
Well, and you know, that's the thing is when everybody admits things that everybody should admit, it makes it easier to admit it because you're in company. You know, everybody's braver in a crowd. You know, if you're with 15 people and they're doing things, you're going to find yourself doing things you would have never done on your own, for good or bad. But you know, that's the strength in numbers. That's the strength in community. That's the strength in helping one help everybody. And then it comes back to you. And if it doesn't, the giving should be the reward.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
always does come back because I feel like that part is that's the part that's so great. You know, I've definitely had a lot of people say I do a lot of charity work, meaning I would do work for nonprofits. I'm a mentor for an at-risk youth here locally. And people have always asked, well, how come you do all of that? And I said, well, one, I think it's the proper thing to give back to community. That's just the way that I'm personally wired. But I honestly, it's off to help people, to help someone else who that I have the ability to do so with. But it almost feels selfish because I said the amount of joy that I get out of giving back to someone, you know, seeing a smile on my youth's face after, you know, taking them to lunch and saying they had the best day. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it. It's so small, but it's so big. That's what matters in this world. It's not the thing that we're selling. It's not the money we're all trying to make. It's what goodness do we put out there? And I believe it does all come back. It's all about energy. Just, you know, to piggyback on what Christine just said, you know, when you're around people who are positive and motivated and pushing, you can't help but be that. And with Christine saying I was exhausted when I came here, but now I'm amped up because the energy is great and it's positive. And I just think it shifts people's mindset. And I think what you're doing here is much deeper than just I do a LinkedIn Live at 11 a.m. every day. You're helping change people and push them towards goals. You know, and I say this to myself personally. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. And I've had so many people say, please get a podcast. You need to do you know, a YouTube channel. And I've never done it. And it was just kind of like, well, you know what? I'm going with all these things were lining up as, you know, I was praying about them and, you know, here it is. And now I'm here and I'm already talking about with Christy, who you spoke to. And if Christy Howard, if you're listening, and I know she will later, hi. same thing. She's been wanting to do something, and this is pushing us to do it. And we're just saying, hey, it's scary. We're not really sure, but guess what? We're just going to start doing it because we're motivated and inspired by it. And I think you do that every day to so many people, whether they're here live or they're re-listening later. Because I did get a few notes of people that that watched it afterwards and were saying, it just made me feel good. And it's like, what better gift to give the world to say, like, I made someone that wasn't feeling so great feel a little bit better today.
Well, and you can change the world one person at a time, because every one of those people reflects on the people around them. The
Mhm.
next people they saw after this, they were a little bit more positive, more a little confident. Success is really just an attitude. Once you get it, nothing can stop you. Once you have that belief that's unshakable, that you're building on rock instead of sand, it turns everything around. And just to Christine's point, it's being sincere, being honest, being true to yourself, and then you can be true to other people. And this could move mountains if everybody would just share it. It just hit the share button, as maybe the ability not to so much promote the show, but it would. But to
Mhm.
get more people participating who don't know. There's 875 million people on LinkedIn. Maybe 1 or 2% do anything. That means 98% are available to jump in, but where, how, with who? LinkedIn doesn't give you a guidebook when you enter. Doesn't tell you where the landmines are, you
Yeah.
know? And if you have people who care, there's a saying, no one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And you got to show how much you care by what you do, not just by what you say. There's a lot of talkers, not a lot of walkers. And by the way, Christy's here, and two of my faves to chat with. Actually, me and Christy had a very extended call yesterday. And the thing is, I want to get to know everybody. I want them to get to understand what is out there and what we can do together to make it better. If everybody, I was thinking about that old story, and I don't know if you heard about stone soup.
Yeah.
And anyways, there was a village and no one had enough to eat, and no one knew how to feed each other. So one lady decided she would just make stone soup because they had water and they had a stone. So anyway, she put it in a pot and started cooking up the stone. And before you know it, some lady had a couple carrots in her house,
Mm.
and then somebody brought a potato. And pretty soon, the soup was just full of nutritious flavor that could have never happened if everybody didn't come together and a lady didn't have the ideas to start the soup.
That's right. And that's exactly what you're doing, is you're creating this soup, because even if I don't know the person, or if I'm not the person that you need to help you with, whoever is listening, I may know that person that can connect you. And I also want to piggyback off of what you're saying about the time that you spend to get to know people, and what you share, Dawn, is also very special. And this goes to what we were talking about before we went live, is I think people are so hungry again to get back to real relationships, and not just, oh, I sent out 15, sales pitch emails today to try to get, to get a close this month. Which I know is important in order to meet quotas and such. But I think there's something so special about spending time focusing on relationship and connection. Because it will be life changing, because you never know who you'll meet. The stories that you hear when you need to hear it, I mean, those are the things to me that always stand out. It's like, gosh, I needed that today. And they didn't even know I needed it today, but there's still something so different. So I love the fact that you take time to have connection with people and create a relationship and are really caring, and that's so meaningful. And I think everyone needs to take time to practice on that, and it will change your life. Just like this does. I mean, the fact that it resonates across a screen and we're all in different parts of the country or the world, just think of what you could have if you did this one-on-one, or made it more of a regular practice. It doesn't mean everybody needs to do LinkedIn lives. It just means to connect with people, get out from behind your keyboard, and see the faces, whether it is Zoom. I think I said this last time. I initially didn't want to do any of these things because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be on a screen and then have everybody see me. Because what if, what if I don't look right on the screen or people say negative things? Well, the fact of the matter is, people are going to say what they want to say regardless. And that has nothing to do with it, because it's sharing a message and supporting other people are so much bigger than that. That it makes it not, we don't care. I'm in a ball cap probably 85–90% of my life. And I will be in one on one of these for sure. And 2020 turned me into being someone who hardly ever wore any makeup, which is also fine. But it just, we're all want to be real and authentic and share. And if anyone's judging you because of how you are on a screen anyways, they're not someone you want in your circle. And they're, people go out of their way to be negative because it's easy. I think it's much more difficult to go face the world with a positive attitude and wanting to smile even when you don't feel like it to someone else, because you never know when you're looking at that one person or you say the one thing or just give that simple smile that you change someone that day. It's so important and so impactful. And so I just say baby steps on anything like this. I know most are even afraid to comment on a live chat, let alone say, I want to jump on the screen. But just take it one step at a time. I mean, that's all it is. Show up for yourself. That's what matters.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better. We've got all these comments, going to try and catch up real quick. To be honest, they ignored it, but that doesn't stop me. There are plenty who don't mind sharing info and knowledge. This is the rest of my comment. Well, here's what I say. Some will, some won't. Don't take it personal.
That's right.
It's just the way it is. And, you're just qualifying faster. When people show their limiting beliefs or their limiting potential, it's a sign to keep moving to someone who doesn't have it. Don't try to fix people,
And don't try to make them like you. I mean, that's
and here's the thing. Don't give your power to anybody. They never built a statue for a critic, and if no one's doing what you're doing, they have nothing to say, right? If you're out there on the stage and no matter what you're doing, you're out there, you're learning, you're growing, you're changing. That's the key. It's everybody's got greatness within them. They're just walking up the right ladder against the wrong wall. And here's the bigger thing about this group. Everybody needs a support group. Everybody's going to come to a time in a day or in their life where they can't deal with it. It's overwhelming. They're confused. They're scared. When you have a coffee shop, or a barber shop or round a pickle barrel, and there's people waiting for you. Another thing, I think age has helped me so much because being a grandfather, you start to live more vicariously through others. After you've done it and enjoyed it and rode the wave many times, I achieved things like, I compare myself to Forrest Gump. When I found myself in situations, it's like, how did I get here? Do I really realize who I'm with and what's going on here? And you always got to believe in what you can't see yet. And that's how you manifest it. But anyways, I don't want to get too much into it. I want to get people out here. Here's Maria. Don't align and fake it till you make it. That's BS. Don't fake, learn, and make it. You're right, because
oh, true.
You should love yourself. You should be proud of yourself. You should have the lowest bar of judgment on yourself, but you should take responsibility and accountability. When I make mistakes, I admit them. I accept them, but I'm automatically forgiving myself because I'm not going to carry a past mistake into a future opportunity.
Right.
I'm not going to pay twice. You paid the toll. It's done. Keep moving. Right. Here's Rashid. Hi, everyone. Thank you. We've got an international audience because we've got an international universal message, that crosses all boundaries. Vulnerability is a rare quality of person. Your thoughts? I think vulnerability is something you need to work on. You've got all these muscles.
Yes.
vulnerability muscles, fear muscles, and this is the gym you can go to exercise them. I always would say stretch, do more than you think you can, and surprise yourself in how much easier it is, because fear got there not from you, but from something or something else.
Hmm.
You need to be the one to redirect that time, thought, and interest into being the best possible individual you can. And if you're that good, you can share so much with others and still have all you need. This is not a scarcity game. So let me keep moving. Cindy, she gave me permission. I don't know why I have so much trouble. Actually, we're talking this afternoon. Everybody who really contributes, I want to have a phone call with. I want to get to know. I value everybody. Everybody to me is equal as a person. I'm into inclusion, diversity, because there should be no walls if you're looking to build. Here we have Maria, Leslie, because it comes with huge rewards and risks. By putting ourselves out there, we might make a mess of our reputations or even lose our friends. On the other hand, we might be embraced by others and find a beautiful sense. When one door closes, another door opens up. And people aren't meant to be there forever. Some people to get you where you are, and they can't take you any further, and they don't want to go any further. So again, instead of forcing it, attract it. I don't run after anything. I'm always motivated to a pull marketing strategy. What me and Keller are doing is phenomenal. These words of wisdoms aren't ours. You come into the world with nothing. The worst you can do, I say, is break even. And anything I've said or learned came from somebody else along the way, right? And it really honors them to repeat some of their sayings. And here's what it is: the things that really got me excited, I wrote down at a conference or at a speech, would get other people excited like me. So all I got to do is say, what do I have the most fun with? What am I most passionate about? Share that with people who align with that. Don't try to convert people into what they don't want to be. Everybody's got their time, place, and there's so many people. Why wait? If you're taking a multiple choice test in school, I remember, and you had like 100 questions, and the teacher says 5 minutes, and you're at 50. Right?
Yes.
What do you do? You start running through them. You don't just hang out. So let me go to Cynthia again, because this is where it's at. I'm here every day. Kelly's a regular. It's you who needs to do a little bit more from what's offered to you. It's one thing to ask. It's also another thing to receive. And I see a lot of people, to be honest, someone gives them a compliment and they diminish the compliment.
Yeah.
Boy, well, not really. I have this and I have that. And, it's like, no, when the universe blesses you, embrace it. And then your response should be gratitude, and I don't know how it works. And I'm not that smart to figure out, but it works. If you believe, your belief will come true if your belief is strong enough, long enough, and keeping in the game is everything. Maria, yeah, an excellent point, and it takes a bit of practice and diplomacy to exhibit this. Well, you got the rest of your life. Like Kelly says, one step at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. An excellent point, and it takes a bit of practice and diplomacy. So true. Having sincere conversation. Oh, that was Christy. Christy's great. Reach out to Christy. Connect with her. I want to see everybody, build the best group they can. I've got 37,000 connections, and I could be just as happy with 300. And the only people that really, really matter, and everybody matters a little, are the people here today. Because those are the people who show up. Those are the people who get involved. And those are the people I want to be with. Not the one day I'll do it. That's fine. But today is the only day you have. No nice one, Kelly. I think we have that in common. I like to manage a team and relate more according as you just preach.
I love that. Yes, and I'm happy to talk to you about that offline as well. Such a gift.
Yeah, and you know, this helps me and Kelly so much because we don't know what we don't know.
That's
And we
right.
don't know what you may know from us. And when you give it back to us, it reinforces it. So we give it back better and stronger. And everything is like, you know, and that's the way it should be. You throw it to me, I throw it to them. You know, everybody throws it to each other. And, you know, it's so much more fun when you're in the game. It's so much more fun when you're on the stage, you're on the field, and you get to play. And so many people restrict people from playing. You know, you got to be at this level to play. Well, you never get to that level if no one's let you play at the beginning. And why not be where everybody already is instead of making them get to where they're not? You know, meet everybody at their level, you know, and start with what you have, where you're at, and it'll change very quickly.
Yes. True.
Right? So, here's great having sincere conversation without wanting something from, you know, you're so right, Christy, because until you have the conversations, you don't know what it is anyways. You know, I was always a fan of Wheel of Fortune, you know, and I always said to myself, if they ever got me on the show, I would buy every vowel as soon as I can, you know, just to know more in order to solve the puzzle, you know. And the same thing on LinkedIn is you know, ask questions, challenge people, you know, test what you have. You know, if I get to 100 people and I say, would you like to have a call, and 50 say no, well, they go into a different column. And then I add 50 more and see if I can get 100. And, you know, all I'm doing is testing, you know, qualifying, asking. But, you know, the key is if you've got an open door with an open heart,
Yeah.
right, you're going to attract people just by projecting that. You don't have to be snazzy or techie. You know, everything I do is normal, and there's no normal to it from a standpoint of meat and potatoes, let's say. You know, I came up in Detroit, and everything was hard to come by, you know, growing up. And you know what it does? It makes you appreciate the little things, you know, playing with a ball that someone threw away, you know, but it plays because you play with it, you know. And that's what I found out about moving to minimalism. And we'll get back to this now that we've got comments, is the more stuff you got, the more stuff got you. Asking for wealth without health in all areas, you know, is shortchanging yourself. We've got, I think we have that. Okay, we talked about that. Oh, okay, we got Kevin Kelly here. I agree. I'm looking to see if I can get my friends to commit to at least one phone call or hangout a month.
Nice.
Well, that would qualify them as friends if they did. But, you know, don't go back to what hasn't worked. You know, go to what can work with the people. You know, what the first thing I do every day may not be where you go, is I go, who viewed my profile? To me, that's the most important area, because they wouldn't have looked for you if there wasn't an interest from somebody or something to you, right? And it's fresh. So why not just say, and here's the key, you don't have to come up with a marketing scheme, come up with a grateful scheme. All you do is, thank you for taking the time to see my profile. If, you know, I see we're very aligned and we share a lot of interest, happy to have a Zoom.
Yeah.
Everything I end up happy to have a Zoom. And then, you know, if someone doesn't respond, what was the point in connecting with me if you never wanted to talk with me? What were you expecting?
I just wanted another number on my phone.
Maybe something will fall out of the sky from a connection like that. And, you know, you got to bless the past for getting you into the present.
Yeah,
right?
and just to sort of go off of what you're saying and to expand on what Kevin is saying here, I think setting what we tend to do, and because it still is January, I'm not a New Year's resolution type person. I'm a person that believes if I need to change something in my life, I'm changing something in my life. I'm not waiting till December 31st. But people tend to set goals or wants that are they can't achieve. Because let's be if you haven't done any of these calls yet, Kevin, and you're like, let's do it once a month and see if we can make that happen. Because people usually go to the other extreme. Let's do it once a week. And then, we miss a week, and then we miss 2 weeks, and then it just never happens, and then it goes away forever. So setting something out there that is achievable, and I agree with what you said, Don. Your friends will show up, and they can't always all show up all the time, because maybe I'm not available on Thursday at 6 p.m. because I already have plans. But I think those who do show up, that's all that matters. And then show up for yourself. I mean, that, one of my things that I'm focusing on more for myself this year is, valuing and honoring myself. I do have something to say. I do have a message to share, and it's worth being heard. That's a big thing to be able to say, even to myself, and to say it out loud. And this does circle back to the whole thing about being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is scary, especially out on a live platform with a bunch of strangers. But you've got to be in a place where I'm okay with that, though, because it's going to help someone. And that's all that matters. For the one that wants to, hate on it or, say something nasty about it, they weren't the ones that was supposed to hear that message. It's the one that it does resonate with that matters. And if we all approach that, and Don, you and I were saying this actually before the call, if we all approach the world that way, how great would this be? I mean,
well, that's so true because, I challenge myself to leave people a lot better than I found them.
yes.
And everybody I pass, I say hello to. I say good morning when I'm walking in the park to everybody, just acknowledgement, just to show that, hey, there's another person who sees you and respects you. Here's Rashid. If you're dedicated with your own goals, don't care about anyone. Just keep moving. If you're on a mission, right, and you've got limited time, you forget about everything else around you. You get into the zone, you focus. What you got to do is have a big enough why. There's a saying, if your why is big enough, you'll figure out the how to, and if you're working for a bigger cause than yourself, you forget about yourself in the cause. You're just a small part of something much bigger than a big part of you. And there's just not enough you, and you got you. Every night you come home to yourself, no matter who you're with, right?
Yep.
And here's one. Kevin, Kelly, hello all, great. I hope I'm not going backwards. We all judge. My mom always said it's usually the ones sitting on the sidelines that has the most to say, and they really don't matter, period. Well, somewhere along the line, someone decided some stranger's opinion could be better than their own. When my kids were young, they were always so self-conscious and worried about what people thought. And I said, there's a survey that when you die, only 10 people come to your funeral. But if it's raining, only 7 will show up. And I said, if only 7 people in the whole world would come to say goodbye to you for a few minutes, what does anybody else matter, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just visualizing, illustrations. They say 1,000, a word is worth 1,000, a picture is worth 1,000 words. There's 9 billion, there's some people for everyone. That's and right. You know what? You shouldn't take luck. You shouldn't be up in the marketplace. You should be the chooser, the qualifier, who gets your time, who you spend it with. And if you have enough value, you're one person. Could you handle 900 million showing up tomorrow, or 9 million, or 900, or 90? If you get 1 or 2, and here's the thing, most of what you need is right here in front of you. Mm-hmm. I would start with these 10 connections. Say, I saw you on LinkedIn Live with Don and Kelly. I really love what you had to say. Let's connect. And if you want, let's have a call. You're going to end up 2-3 appointments on your calendar with 2-3 more people you wouldn't have. And here's another thing you got to keep in mind. Everything you do either takes you closer to your goal or further away. Mm-hmm. Right? So if you decide, hey, I'm going to watch some comedy show, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I could have spent an hour really getting enriched with other people. And is that who you are and what you want? And that's only you can answer that. You know, if you're authentic and say, hey, this feeds my soul, you know, this really makes me want to go somewhere and do something and be something. That's what it's about, because little things done right over time really compound, but little things done right over time with a lot of people together. There's no reason we couldn't have 1 million people listening to this show next week. If the average person on LinkedIn has 991 connections, if you have 100 people that reach out for you or with you, that's over 10,000, right? And if you take it one more step, so it gets exponential. Some will, some won't, so what? Yeah, that's the saying.
So
For
true.
sure, Leslie. Leslie Strong today. Hello, Kevin Kelly. Great. Denton. This platform is amazing. It opens us all up to sharing and giving back first. Provide a space to change someone's outlook and show up for each other and yourself. So, you know, you get it. And when you get it, it means we're sending it properly and it's being received. And it's you. This is an opportunity for all of you, for all of us, back to you. You know, it's almost like help you, help me to help you, you know, and help each other to help each other, because no one's where they want to be yet, and no one should. The future should only get better. You know, this world was meant for enjoyment and for taking advantage of what's here, and only through other people. Critical to be vigilant, doing due diligence. A lot of people are learning on another person's dime. Well, you know, until you value yourself, nobody else will. What's your thoughts, Kelly? A lot of folks
There's a lot to unpack there.
They are based in, would be interested to see. Sure, I think that's an excellent thing. The more you can comment, the more you can be seen, the more people can learn from you. You know, it's like, hey, if someone, it's like a picnic. Everybody brings something and everybody takes something. And just like that stone soup, until everybody brought their little element to it, did it become a full picnic, right? And then everybody remembers who brought what, right? And why did they go halfway? You know, why didn't they want to not impress, but to serve greater amounts in what they're receiving? And that's how the pile gets so much bigger. Is someone does something and you come back and say, I need to come up with something that creates value back to them. And it makes you think of what it is and how to deliver it. And then they get it, they can copy it, build on it, you know, but you ratchet up together. And pretty soon you're giving and receiving bigger gifts from more people. And really, that's so cool. Cindy, I so look forward to it. Oh, that's our call. Great. Me too. Let me see where we're at. Gosh, I get caught up here. Hello, okay. Denton, Leslie, okay. Here we go. Leslie again. Southeast USA, great. I'm in Denver for anybody who wants to know. Bullseye down, finding value in people is virtue. So right, you know, when you start categorizing it and qualifying it in things like virtue, you know, passion, joy, you know, how does that compete with someone who's going to give you something for $100 for 40? You know? I mean, what kind, you know, it's no competition. And if it is, they already pre-qualified themselves away from you, which is good, which gives more room for the believers and the supporters. Ready, aim, fire. You're so right. And the other thing that goes along with that, Leslie, is plan, do, review. You know, too many people are doing and they're not really reviewing it and then revising it and reinventing themselves. You know, what I would say is whatever works best goes next. And that goes for whatever you can find to make you happier. And, you know, I've been in so many deals with so many people, and the best people in the mediocre deals always turned out to be great. And the mediocre people in the best deals never did. You know, start with that rock and that water, and then get everybody else to make it what you could have never done it without them, and share. You know, I coach women to up level themselves, and I see many women who apologize when they don't need to and make an excuse when someone gives a compliment. Someone gives a compliment, say thank you.
Yep.
You know what? You earned it. And that's a compliment probably more people should have said than less. Right? And it gives you third party validation. You know, and it shows that are people out there who love you and care about you. You know, that someone told me the biggest nightmare they have is being on their deathbed, and they look around, all their loved family and friends are around them, and they say to themselves, what could I have done not to be here right now? You know, and this is your now. You're in the game. Okay, we saw that. Nothing is impossible to achieve if only we can encourage ourselves. And most times when a man, woman encourage himself is the highest level of motivation. People need people. Technology evolves by a second. People evolve by thousands of years, right? And what was necessary and important and valuable 30, 40 years ago is still even more true because it's so unavailable, right? Everything is fast, you know, efficient. Not everybody wants to be fast and efficient. Some people want to dwell, you know, want to enjoy, want to savor, you know, want to hold memories, make memories. That's the whole you. When people go to LinkedIn, they want to be Shakespeare to write, you know, they want to be everybody's friend. They want to be able to do everything. And why? You know, why does someone have to change when they can look for the people who are like themselves? I mean, this is great today because it's everything I look forward to. Is I have so many things, sayings. Kelly has so many experiences, but you know, when people, you know, like Maria, bring in their sayings, you know, and bring in their favorites, so it's almost like you had a special dish in your family that everybody enjoyed, and it got sent down from generation to generation. Everybody's got wisdom. Everybody had grandparents and uncles and aunts who instilled things in them, teachers, friends. Pile that up, you know, go looking in the attic for that stuff and enjoy it. You know, you have a choice of your thoughts, and everybody's got plenty of honors and accomplishments and achievements that they could refer to instead of what didn't happen, what should have happened, things of that nature. Here we go. Nothing, I think we covered that. Okay. Then we got Christy, seizing the opportunity at Downcome. Do you have time for a call right after this live session? I'll tell you. Where am I? Yes, I do. So if you like, I'd be happy to send you a link after this is over, and we can have a call. And this shows you how serious I am. You know, to me, this is, you know, everything, but it's always, you know, secondary. I mean, family has always come first, you know, and actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I got grandkids come over at least once a week and sleep over. Wow. And what I heard about LinkedIn was that you should talk to people as if they're a 10-year-old. Yeah. Because that's how they can understand everything. Too many people get too fancy, right? So I had them on to say, well, here's a 10-year-old. What do you think? It just knocked it out of the park because people love kids. I said, next time we do it, bring your puppy with you. They even love that more, you know? But it's fun, you know? When you can come up with these things, it's like you don't care what people think. You're having a good time, right? If you're laughing and hooting it up with a group and someone says something, it's like, you know, it doesn't even resonate. You think it matters from the regular subscription or the upgraded one. Depends what you're doing. See, I'm doing everything organic. I'm doing everything with LinkedIn Live. People who come. I'm not really out there slicing and dicing through Sales Navigator, sending some canned things. I mean, I did it, and I did it well, but it didn't get me where I wanted to go. It got me more. It didn't get me better, you know? And, you know, I'd rather do more with less people that can do more important things than less with more people. I mean, with more with whatever, you get it. So myself too, I want systems. Poonam's here every day. I'll get to Poonam. Hi, boss. Hi, mem. And that's him saying boss. He's just everybody like everybody. But I appreciate him. Working remotely and living in a different state than most I know, I am now connecting via Teams, Zoom, Gmail, chat, so we can have those face-to-face talks over the phone. Because once you see their face, you enjoy the conversation more, even when you're here. So true, Christy, because if you're asking for people to do more, you have to be more, right? You got to return. Nothing, here's what I learned about LinkedIn. It's a two-step approach. You take a step, I take a step. I take a step, you take a step, but no one's going to take two steps, right? If someone tags you and you don't return something, someone else is going to get the tag, right? If someone comments, you're going to support them. And so what it means is you're going up a down escalator all the time. If you're not getting ahead of it, you're falling behind it, and you probably don't even know that well. We don't achieve goals because we were only given SMART goals, which are for, smart and educated is really recognized. There's a saying, a conventional education will make you a living, a self-education will make you a fortune, and now today, everybody can educate themselves on any subject they want. They don't need to formalize it. They don't need to leave home. They don't need to spend a lot of money. There's plenty of information. The most successful people in the world, okay, moving on. Poonam says, hi, Christy. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Maria. See, isn't that great? Poonam just showed how to make things time efficient by saying the same thing to 3 people at the same time. Hi, Poonam. See, what comes around goes around. We're proving it right now.
Right, and how great is that?
Cynthia Nordstrom, howdy. Cynthia's going to come out here with 5 really good connections, and people already respect and appreciate her. She doesn't have to build that trust. She already earned it. Maria said, I'm from Nigeria. Great. Everybody has value. Point on again. Don't rush after anything that is truly God feeling. You're right. I mean, be where the warmth is. Be where the comfort is, and what's the use of chasing something if once you get it, you don't sit with it, you don't enjoy it. You don't, here, another thing is celebrate it, buy yourself a cupcake and blow out a candle on it and clap your hands and listen to some music or whatever you do to be happy for a while. Because once you can memorialize it, if that's a word, it's something now working in your favor. If you believe you will receive, so stand up to your feet and say no to your defeat. That's so good. And whether you're using pictures, whether you're using rhymes, it just has to be like, can you get some top of mind awareness with some of these thoughts? And here's the thing, if you cobble together 10 or 20 of these with knowing not only what the words are, but more importantly, what the intentions were for you, you've just got a treasure chest of encouragement, of support, and of people you can go back to, and a show that's here every day. Hi, Kevin. Great. Just running through. This is thumbs up, Kelly. Thanks for reading the comment, Donald. You appreciate it. If you go to a game and you've been practicing, you got to be on the field. I always believe in like high school and junior high sports, everybody should be on the court eventually. It's hard for many to say, okay. Moving on, Leslie. Speak about what you know on 4th grade level. Sure. Big words at times don't fit the context of the conversation or the individual reading it. And that's why this program, I remember I was talking, it could have been Christy yesterday or someone else, and they said, this program reminds me of sitting in a living room with you. You know,
Yes.
it's not like you're on a stage with pointing down, telling people,
Right.
you
And
know.
not preaching to you and telling you what you should be doing in your life. And this is how you should speak to things. You need to listen to what I say. No, I'm here to share it with you and to, help promote something in you, whether just sharing with one another. And honestly, just to go on using the big words in sales, I've been around a long time. I'm a very active listener. Um, and people who tend to use a lot of large words and explain in a very long period of time to answer a question, if you really listen, a majority of the time you can end up going, wow, they still really didn't answer my question. And I'm not
Mhm.
really sure what they were saying of value. Um, and usually, I mean, and I won't go off on the psychology of that. A lot of that has to do with some kind of insecurity, thinking I've got to fill the space with all these words and I need to say something profound. And the most profound things tend to be the most simple things because they're
Mhm.
just based on truth. And truth is not complex.
No, and why make it complex?
Right.
Why make it tougher than you have to? And so many people have carried so much of a load for so long. They don't know what it is to shift it.
Mhm.
They don't know why they even have it anymore. It just kind of grew. And they became slowly comfortably uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're comfortable. That's why we go back to our bad habits a lot of times. Regardless that they're bad, they're comfortable because we've been doing them a lot. And
Hmm.
this sort of goes back to, even the beginning of the conversation about carrying a load and not knowing. It's recognizing that, oh my gosh, I'm carrying this load and I don't know how to get rid of it. Who can help me? Who can I talk to? Reach out to someone, recognizing that I need help, or I just
Hmm.
need to talk to someone else because I'm feeling silly of bearing this burden that I don't even know why I'm keeping it here. And you say that, and you'd be astonished at how many people are going to go, I know exactly how you feel, or I've been through something very similar, or this is what I did. Um, and then we feel, and this goes back to last week, what we were talking about, when people feel supported and safe, they will go above and beyond all the time, whether or not it's a group that you're managing or whether or not it's in a group like this where, gosh, now I'm feeling safe to ask these questions. Now I'm going to reach out because then that starts building up, I feel comfortable. I feel safe. I feel more empowered. And I mean, what a beautiful thing. Ride that wave, be present. I think another thing about this show, Dawn, that is so great, and it came up while you were talking about something a little bit earlier about being so busy, all the technology and connecting with people, and how Christy mentioned it was like talking in your living room. It is, but you're present, and and I say this about you, and I spoke with Christy last night too, and same. The attention is only between the two people on the phone, but like nobody giving yourself the time to put down technology and just be present in the moment with who you're talking to, who you're talking with. It's amazing at what you pick up and what you learn from that, and how it just shifts all kinds of energy instead of being stressed out about like, oh God, how many emails are getting in my inbox while I've been on this call, or have I missed any text messages, or this frames my day anyway in such a more thoughtful way where my approach to other things feel much more calm, because I think the world with technology gets us so stressed out because there are so many images coming at us and all these messages and everything is so scary and terrifying, um, that we've got to take time to slow down and remember this is what it is about. It's much more simple and it doesn't need to be all that fast paced all the time. We need to give ourselves this. And I think I saw Christine put up a message that her birthday is Friday. Happy early birthday. And that she is taking self care, to get her hair done, which I love. But this is self care.
Mhm.
Showing up for yourself, regardless if it's on this show, you're showing up for you because you know you're going to get something out of it. I mean, and that's something to celebrate. I showed up for myself today. What a great way to start my day.
Yeah, and starting it with others. You
Yes.
know, I used to love taking big family vacations where 15 or 20 people would show up, and every meal would be some character or something would be going on. And it was just a riot because you could be a spectator as well as a participant. And everybody here has a question, has a concern, has an opportunity. Trust people to trust themselves to do the right thing. All you can do is all you can do, and that's all you can do. But other people can help you do a lot more, and you can help them do a lot more. So, I think the key is with technology and with this platform, you can leverage a lot that you couldn't before. My posts were never going to be this effective. I mean, who's going to see me? On Sunday, there were over 400 hours of viewing. So people put in all those minutes and hopefully learned a little. And here's the thing, you never know what you don't know. There could have been a person who was on the show, listened to Kelly, and all of a sudden decided this is the first day of the rest of my life and I'm going to start taking action, you know and I would never know it, but I know it happens. There's a saying, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And that's so true in so many ways. And there's so many teachers around you, and they're always going to be there if you're open to them. And the key is that don't wait for some happen, make some happen, because what's going to happen on its own is independent of what you're going to do on your own. And, I'll tell you one quick story. I know we're totally over the limit. Is a guy was ready to jump out a window. His business was failing and didn't know what to do. And he couldn't figure it out. So anyways, he decided, I'll just take a quick walk in the square. And he's walking in the square, and an old gentleman in a big top coat comes up to him and says, I'm JP Morgan, and I really help a lot of people. And the guy tells him his problem. And he says, okay, well, I'll give you a check for, back then, like $100,000. And all I got to do is come back here in a year and pay me back. And he took the check, put it in a safe, and says, wow, I got $100,000. And he said, I'll just start going to work, and I know it's there. Make a long story short, because of having that $100,000, he never touched it. And he went to work, and he became successful and famous. And he went back a year later to the square, and he saw the gentleman, and he went up to him. And right before he could get to him, a nurse showed up and says, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm paying JP Morgan back. He said, no, he's not JP Morgan. He gives checks like that to everybody who shows up here. But having that belief, having the confidence to think something was backing him up. And like I say, faith is the belief in the invisible. Christine, yes, showing up for each other and having community is key. During COVID, UU Church hosted coffee hours on Zoom every morning. It was a great way to start today. That's just anybody coming together for other people.
Yeah.
Who then bring them into the everybody coming together for other people. You first move in, then you move up, and then you move people in. And, there's 3 phases, like I say, learning, teaching, and teaching how to teach. And I love the connecting, teaching part, because you do enough for others, and it's been proven. Make enough people successful, you can't help but be successful yourself.
Yeah.
And even if you define success as different than making money, knowing that you changed people's lives because you allowed them to be everything they could be. You didn't make them anything. You just allowed them to become that. So with that said, unless there's any other comments or thoughts, I want to thank everybody so much. I'm so proud of you all for taking the time and stretch yourself. Learn a little bit more every time. Share a little bit more. Maybe plan your comment if you're afraid of doing it spontaneously. Write down what you could use the most help with, in a way that people can help you, and let's go at it. You know,
or just send us a direct message if you don't even want to do it here. I mean,
well,
that's fine.
sure. Any way that works for you, I'm happy to help work, because the beauty of it is, through knowledge share, if 10 people are learning together every day, times 7, times 52, how many lessons do you need to turn the corner? You know, and if you're better on every level of service and value on LinkedIn, you'll be the best, right? And take it with intention. So anyway, I can talk, Kelly can talk, and we will talk, and Kelly will be back. So
Yes.
thank you again, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and look forward to our next opportunity tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern.